Good morning. Thank you very much for such a kind introductions. When the organizer asked me how would the MC address me, so I just say just address my name because I believe that today I would like to learn from the conference delegate more than I share to you. But first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Glenda for a kind invitation. I still remember when we met in Mumbai a few months ago, and then she mentioned that she's gonna have the conference in Bangkok, and I say yes, I would join because my calendar at the time is still available. But in practice, I only available just half a day today, so I flew from Chiang Mai yesterday in the evening, but the flight was delayed 2 hours, and I have to fly back this afternoon due to the king's birthday is coming, so there's a long weekend. So another pressure on me is that the next speaker, Professor Mark, I guess he know much more than me. I learned from him in terms of SRI as well. So today, my slide is ready. Okay. So today I'm gonna talk about the experience that we have so far. So when I received the topic on measuring impact, and the conference name is philanthropy, which is the area that Chiang Mai University, where I work, try to explore and to see what can we learn, and in order to sustain our finance in terms of helping the local community in Thailand. So I come up with 5 agendas briefly to share the basic idea of SRI for those who may be new to this concept. But I think it's better maybe perhaps to share what we have done so far in our university by implementing SRI for more than 5 years. There's a lot of pains, a lot of mistake that we learned so far. So maybe a good chance to share to you, especially when you come to have conference in Thailand. And then I will end my presentation with the key notion of the future impact measurement, and I think the conference organizer has aligned nicely with the talk of SCG impact standard by Professor Mark. And again, thank you, Dr. Glenda, for inviting me today. So first, I think if I speak to my university professor and student, I may spend like half an hour or full day to explain this. But I think everyone know why we have to measure the impact, right? Because all the money you raise, or the funding you have, or the decision that you have to make, we are responsible for such decision. And the approach to ensure that we are responsible for that is to report the impact of the money we spend, the money we receive, and the outcome. However, measuring impact is always the challenge. So I think the keyword is to only measure what matters. And by implementing this alone in university took us 4 years. Because in university, we train to report everything we done. But in the real world, it doesn't really matter, right? From the perspective of donors, from the perspective of foundations, or perhaps the public. So we have to make decision what really matters. And then if you're looking at the framework around, the world, many organizations using that. I pick one here is the Alliance magazine. Sorry, it's typos here, because they use the term impact philanthropy. But every approach tend to be quite similar. So I think if we stick on to the PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act, we can survive with that. So the approach that we have been implementing in Chiang Mai University, where I work as an assistant to the president, is SRI. One of the methods we use is SRI. SRI is kind of research method. So it means the way to answer the questions, research question, And the research question we have to answer after all the project we fund within university or the project that we get funding from government or other organization like the National Health Fund. We need to answer the question, what's in it for the public? What is the impact that the research made? And this is very difficult for us in university because all the professor will say, I did research, I create the knowledge. It's up to the other people to utilize that knowledge. But what's changed in Thailand now is the pressure from the government and public saying that the one who gonna utilize that knowledge is you, university. So we need to push our professor, our staff in the university hospital, in the research center to actually keep thinking what else we can do after we create the knowledge. What else we can do to actually utilize the knowledge. And this is on the left hand side here is the 8 principles of the SRI. So it's different to ISO, the international standard, where there's a checklist. You have to do 1, 2, 3, 4. The SRI principles is the way to reflect back when we assess the impact. I believe you all assess the impact, but just ask a question or think along the way within 8 questions. To me, the first and the last supposed to be the most important that I always give my staff in mind. First is involve stakeholders. Actually engage stakeholders from day one. When you plan for the impact project, when you start thinking about raising fund, raising money, I just received the email that we're gonna get the funding from the government in terms of stopping air pollution problem, and some researchers say, we're gonna get research budget coming. But from university perspective, we are, what's gonna happen after we finish that project? The parliament, the government will come and, you receive the research project, you receive the funding to help the local people stop burning. What is the impact? And the impact is very clear. You look at the sky, and if the sky is clear, the project seems to work. But what happens if the haze still happening in Chiang Mai? We're gonna have some problem, right? So from day one, we need to engage stakeholders. And along the way are the common standard that we have to follow. The last one is to be responsive, be responsible from what we did. The challenge that we found is that when the impact assessment, impact measurement complete, if you receive good report, you have high return on the investment to the society, we celebrate, post on Facebook, and share to everyone, right? But what happened if we found that the project that we operate create some negative impact, right? Are we there to share it? Okay. So the left hand side, you can learn from lots of courses available around online, on site. But from my experience implementing this in university, I can conclude 7 things that SRI can give an ideas to you all today. First, I mentioned that already, SRI is a research approach. So it's not a quick win that you can do it within a days, a month. But in practice, the executive, the board want it within a few months, right? But lately we can convince the Thai Research Fund to, trace back the impact in the next 5 years. But what I found is that, can I click the last one? Okay. It's quite practical, meaning that we have done some impact assessment tools before, but it's not that flexible. enough. Another good thing is that it's quite global and worldwide method, thanks to the Social Value International base in the UK that implement this. And when we complete the SRI report, we can send it to the UK to get endorsement, and it's increased credibility to the report. Recently, SRI become standard impact assessment in Thailand now. I don't know why, but one day the Thai Research Fund say every project must report SRI. And life, something is like that. Some tools that we use become popular and everyone have to use it. But 5 years ago, we have no idea. So we explore a few tools that I will share to you later. However, SRI is still developing. And this conversation, I talked to the trainer from Social Value International, Dr. Adam. He say it's still evolving. So that means we can be a part of it. We can help them to revise it. And it's like other research method that we can keep on improving it. Last but not least, I think this is like the big lottery for us in university. It's linked to SDG now. I have no idea five years ago, Dr. Mark, that SRI will be linked to SDGs. And luckily, my university also have SDG as one of the end goals too. Okay, and these are 8 principles. I don't have enough time to go through all of them. So let me talk about what happening in Chiang Mai University when we implementing it. So, when we see 8 principles, and then my boss, the current president, at the time he was a vice president, asked me, my nickname is Champ. He asked me, Champ, what should we do? What should I do? You're from Faculty of Economics. You help me. So okay, I think about how should we implement it? And no one has been done it at the university level. Most of the project just measure the impact at the project level. So I think that okay, we may have to split it into 3 layers. So first, we need to set the systems. And this is important because when we implement it at the whole organization, we need to deploy it into the system. Thinking about you going back to your organization and you learn the new things and your boss say, hey, you do this, SRI. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to your salary. It doesn't matter to your own KPI. So no one stop doing it, right? So we have to embed this into the university management system. And when we say university, everyone is very highly individuals. So we have to work with the school faculty and university level and embed the approach to develop the assessor, internal assessors, and the university level committee and the external committee to ensure that the report that we do is trusted, is reliable. The second part is we have to look at the methods, and not just only SRI, but we have to look at alternative method as well. Because 5 years ago, there's a lot of critiques and debate on SRI. Someone say no, this is unreliable. But so that we have to open for something like traditional economics tool like input-output table, CGE computational general equilibrium, cost-benefit analysis, SRI. And we try, luckily we have one professor reviewed the tools, and she said that the mission of university, when we evaluate it, we cannot use SRI. And the reason is that the mission that we do is education. We keep teaching, educate our student, and it's not the project-based things. It's a mission, keep on going. So we implement the macroeconomics model. However, anything that is a project, they have a starting date and the end date, we can implement SRI. So that's the first key takeaways when we deploy to the whole university. So we have 2 levels of the method, micro and the macro. Micro. For the micro, the challenge is that we cannot implement SRI to all the projects. So the projects that we're working with community, we can use SRI because it creates social values. But some of the project is like engineering, mathematics, quantum, AI. It hasn't yet engaged with the society. So it's make them more difficult to use SRI. So we ask them to do the cost benefit analysis instead. At the end of the day, the president of university have to talk to all the deans and sign some performance agreement together and link it back to the long-term plan. So at the end of the day, set a system, set a method, and then make a commitment to the long plan of the organization. And we hope this will work. Finger crossed, we have to deal with some organization externally like the NESDC, National Economic and Social Development Committee, because they own the data. This is the organization that analyzes the GDP of the whole country. And believe me or not, when we ask for the budget every year, the parliament will ask us, if we give you $1, is it better than give it to the local school? Or is it better to give to the other ministry? So we kind of benchmarking with others organizations who receive the funding as well. And we also trying to work and help set up the social value Thailand too. Okay, so this is the state gate where we have to implement it in practice. Life is crazy. When we start SROI, we ask everyone to submit a project, and no one don't want to be accessed. And professor say, I finished my project. Don't mess with me. I'll move on another project, right? So at the beginning, no one want to submit their project to SRI evaluation. So our problem is try to convince a good project. Hey, submit to us, and then nothing bad. We will not harm you. We will not bite you. All the good things will be reported, or the negative things will be solved with the university funding. So we have to inform them that our roles to assess the impact is to find the good thing, give the number. And if something wrong in the project, don't worry, that's a priority to resolve it. And university will help provide even more funding to solve that problem that we create. Then when we finish a first loops of evaluation, reporting things, it's kind of good feedback. So the problems that we're facing in the second phase, like when we spend 3-4 years, the problem is that everyone wants to be evaluated. Because at the end of the day, they will get certificate, like transcript. And if they got the good evaluation, they can use that to get more funding. And I will show you some project that get more funding already. But if you get bad grade, or even you fail, you can keep it in your house, cry a little bit, and move forward. So everyone want to be evaluated. Okay, I check my times too. The problem is that every evaluation costs the money as well. Okay, at the beginning we have to spend 100,000 baht per one project, like average. So we have to deal with the team to evaluate. The first step, we ask Faculty of Economics, ask our professor to do it. Seems to be good, right? We did it in-house. But two problems arise. The first problem, good professor always busy. And actually all professors are busy. So the evaluation process delay. 6 months to 1 year, 1 year and a half, and it seems unfinished. Secondly, people like me always busy. And I think everyone as well. So in-house have some problem. It seems to be convenience, but not that easy to force people in our organization to finish job. But the second issue is more challenging. When we finish doing in-house, we report to the board, right? The board have the final say. And our board are from the former governor of the Bank of Thailand or the high people in economics and other subjects. And the raise the issue that, hey, we did a good job, we evaluate the impact. But we did it internally. Is it reliable? Is it trusted? The one who evaluate, do they have qualification to do so? So the question we worry coming back. So the second phase, we started to have the external assessor, which is more expensive. So the question, how can we balance that cost? So we need to select the project. So we use in-house assessor to pre-assess the potential impact. And to be able to do that, we have to educate them. Okay. And then once we have selected project, we can sum up the data. And the next challenge is how can we share such impact data to external and internal staff. Okay. So for example, I show these books a lot. This is a classic one by Wesley Leontieff. Output for us mainly number of graduates, knowledge creation, knowledge transfer. The challenge for us is beneficiaries, right? Outcome, we're looking for employment, innovation, and try to reduce poverty in the country. So the impact will be reported in terms of social value, SRI in terms of efficiency, and now we're working on SDG impact. Okay, this is in practice, life is not that easy. So the first school that raised hand and come to talk to me, the dean want to do it, is medical school. The doctors always want to do it first. But the challenge we found is that the operations in the medical school, in the hospitals, is not that easy. They're not just going to give the healthcare and that's it. But the project they want to be evaluated, there are three things. First is AI. This is not artificial intelligence, but it is associate instructor. So the training program, HRM. So SRI is not fit with this. This is like the treatment into the old process. So we introduce them that they have to use different. This is another econometrics method. We decided to go for this project, mobile unit. Mobile unit is the cardiovascular equipment that is quite difficult to move around. So this project, they have mobile unit to Nan province. It's like 5-hour drive along the mountains. And we say, hey, you can use social return on investment because medical school invest some medical doctor, medical staff, and they get some funding from the private sector to donate the equipment and other financial resources as well. But something like they want to do, this is the Line official apps, transform the doctor handwriting that hardly to read into something IT. So now in our university hospital, we can log into the Line, the apps, and then chat and get all the record. So SRI knows everything, so we have to be careful what we have to use. So this is something that we invent to save our costs. So before every project want to be evaluated for SRI, we have to send them the self-assessment form. So you need to report what you have done so far. What are the data available? So we can see that is it worth doing the impact assessment. So not all the projects should be measuring impact full scale. And I don't know why, but everyone want one-page form. So we have to squeeze everything in. It's in Thai language, sorry. Okay. So what are the tools? There are many tools, but the tools that I highly suggest are three things. The first one is willingness to pay. This is for the project, the product that don't have the market values. The idea is to ask directly to the customers how much they're willing to pay for that project. For example, we have the project saying that we're gonna, in Chiang Mai, in my hometown, we have lots of festivals. And one of the festivals is flower festivals. And the government want to know the value of this project. So we set up the scenario asking all the people in the city, like, how much would you pay to keep this festival alive? because government don't have any money. We spend all the money after COVID already. That kind of experiment can give us some idea the value of the project. But this is quite expensive research. The one that we are working on is that in the last 5 years, we evaluate around 200 SRI, small evaluation, big evaluation. And we found that the project always the same, right? When you give the money to the impact project, healthcare, education, poverty, local product. So we see the trend and try to find the standard financial proxies. So use the previous data and see what are the financial proxy of each output. But the best thing always empirical evidence. But this, we're gonna go to this one when the project is very highly recommended, especially from the government. Okay, quickly to CMU. So we successfully embedded into our vision to be leading university committed to social responsibility for sustainable development through innovation. So you can see that to measure this goal, SDG is one, but SRI will contribute into 60,000 million baht here. So it's around 2,000 billion US dollar. So everyone have to contribute back to this. This is the number in our head now. And we link our mission, education, research, academic service, and have some positioning. I don't have much time, but we focus on food, medical, and creative industry, and link it to SDGs. And, okay. So, what is the baseline? The baseline that we asked Professor Songsak. He was the former dean of Faculty of Economics, and he used the GTAP model from Australia, found that on average, $1, this is $1 investment should generate 3.24 US dollar as an economic impact. So now when we have a meeting to give the fund to the project that proposed to university, this is the minimum SRI that we expect, 3 times return. In my own program, I call it high impact societal engagement project. I set the standard 10 times. I don't know why it's 10x. This look good. Okay, and okay. So what we're doing now is that if you get the money from university, you finish a project, you have a good jobs, we assess you, and we put all the data into the CMU open impact data. So this is like the URL available on the internet using Power BI from Microsoft. And if they want to get external funding, they can send the link to the other fundings or donors. Another thing is that this is good for the project owner, but the researcher belong to the faculty, belong to the school. So we need to satisfy the dean. So the dean will get the reward. We call SRI reward. Do you have credit card? Everyone have credit card, right? Same. You got reward. And you exchange back. When you have credit card reward, we exchange for hotel, flight, right? But if you are the head of organization, what do you want? They exchange for more budget directly. They exchange for new staff position. Okay, so surprisingly, this is quite popular. And this is capacity building training programs. We have hackathons because everyone wants to finish within a day. This is open impact data. Okay, so president, dean, researcher can access to the data and monitor it day by day. And they can send the link to the outside people as well. And now we have Social Value Thailand to endorse the report for us too. What is the future? I'll skip with that. The future, my picture when I was young. SDG impact, Professor Mark will talk about this later on. So thank you very much. And I believe that measuring impact is actually for better decision making for philanthropy. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, unfortunately, Dr. Pairach won't be able to stay with us and to join us for the panel discussion this afternoon. So at this point, we will now proceed with our question answer portion. So anyone who would like to ask any question is free to do so right now. So while you are thinking or formulating your questions, I have just a few questions myself based on the presentations. No? So in one of the slides used by our presenter, there was this one slide which raises a very simple fundamental question. Why measure impact for philanthropy? Okay, which I would like to break into two or three smaller parts. First, it says that based on the explanation that when we talk about measuring impacts, we don't really have to measure everything. Okay? We have to measure the impact only of what matters. Okay, what matters? So the first question there is, talking about philanthropy, what do you think matters and which we should be measuring?
Very hard question, especially before lunch. I think the question in everyone's mind is, well, when is the lunch? I think it's, to be honest, if I answer based on the principles, it's going to be something that value to stakeholders, right? And I got A from that. But in the real world, we have to ask why we have to do this. Okay, so in our university, I cannot answer for the whole philanthropy, but in my university, there are two reasons we have to do this. First, we are not rich. We have limited budget. And every time we say, okay, we're coming up with the new 5 years plan. We want to do biopolis for the food. We want to do medical police for the medical care, creative economy, 3 things. We call for proposal, right? For the proposal coming in. And most of the time, the proposals that request for the money are like 5 times, 10 times more than the money we have. So we need to measure which one is more important, right? So the way that we use, I don't have that slide. So we have 2 categories to evaluate the proposal or the project. First one is the urgency. So urgency, we can use, the committee ideas. But one more thing is impact. So we need to measure the impact for ourselves because we don't have enough money to give to everyone, right? And I think for philanthropy is that you are responsible for the funding in the foundation, in the organization. So we need to make sure that everything we invest into the project is returned back in terms of the impact and values to the stakeholders. So the first one is we do it for ourselves, for management, for better decision making, because we don't want to give the money to the project and failed, right? We want to safeguard that. Second reason is that the country want it, and the same reason, because the Ministry of Finance, they also have limited time and the budget. I think what lie behind the need for SRI is that it hurt when you measure good things into numbers, right? You say, how can you measure my project into one and summarize into one number? But in the real world, the decision making takes lots of times, lots of information coming in. And the number is something that decision maker can use it in a quick time and without any debate. Because we used to decide, okay, we go for project A, not project B. And we use one page, describe the reason why we go for the project A. And always the debate, my project B is better, blah, 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 blah. But if we compare the project using partly with the number. The number never lies, and sad but true. Life is like that. Yes, I'm not so sure I'm answering. The
Okay,
question. Yes.
we were requested to make ourselves comfortable by sitting down
Okay, thank you.
as we continue with our chit chat. Okay, my follow up question is this. I remember way back, even when I was still a student, when we were asked to come up with research proposals, project proposals, thesis proposals, some of us came up with titles containing the word impact. And the advisors, the moderators would always disapprove it. Why? Because I would say measuring impact takes time. Okay? So ideally, to be able to measure the impact of a particular project, how long does it take to do that? How much time do we need to measure an impact of something?
Even more difficult question. We asked, to be honest, very good question. We asked that question 6 years ago, and the answer is that depends. And economists always answer with depends. Depends on what? Depends on the reason why we measure that impact. Remember that I answered you previously. Two reasons. The first reason is to measure for the budget decision making. So for that one, we do it just enough to be able to make decision. So the time spent is shorter. But impact report that we need to report directly to the parliament, that one take much longer. The reason is that the impact report that we use it internally, we use within our organization, we can be casuals, right? We know what we need just to be enough. But when we submit to external, and I believe some of you are proposing the impact project, you want to do the best, right? To propose for the budget for external organization. And for us, it's a parliament. If we do something wrong, if the number was mistake, we go to jail. So it takes longer time. What about in unit? So for the external report, it could be years, but it actually depends on the complexity of the project. We have one project for the medical school. They have the mobile unit to the city around the northern region of Thailand. And the area where they have the medical mobile unit are very far away. And it's very difficult to make appointment to the stakeholders, to interview, collect the data, blah, blah, blah. So life very difficult. Even though the budget is very small, but the complexity, the difficulty is very high. So it takes longer time. Another reason that take impact measurement a long time is the preparation of the project owner itself. And it's a pity because the project owner put the effort on the project itself very hard already. But most of the social project, the owner don't really want to collect the data. And I think maybe the reason is that we are so tired of traveling, work with the local people, solve the problem. So when it comes to the data, we say, oh, it's there already, evidence is there, but the data is not available. That make the impact evaluation take longer. However, the impact evaluation could be done within 1 hour, like I show you the hackathons. If the project owner, like you all here today, ready, have all the data, think from the day one that I want to measure the impact of this project, because you want to be responsible for the donors. You want to use this like a platform to get even more funding to scale it up in the futures. So it could be 1 hour, 1 year, depends on who you report to and how complex is the project.
This is some sort of a follow-up question on the question I've just raised now. What is the ideal time frame to measure SROI? Is it by project implementation coverage? What about accumulation of project time frames? For example, 3 project phases, I'm not sure if I understood this question very well. Anyway, the first question was, what is the ideal time frame to measure SROI?
Okay, thank you. I think it depends on the objective of evaluation. I just finished one evaluation which I feel not good about it because they want to measure something in the future we call forecast. So somehow you can measure it before the project start because you want to get the funding and you never done something like that before, but we need to be very prepared in terms of data and engage with the stakeholders so you can start from day one. And but normally the easiest way is to start to evaluate once the project make the impact. Okay, so I will answer based on the operation in our university. So what we did is every project that funded by university, before they get the contract of funding, they need to go to one SRI workshop and they need to be able to explain the impact pathway, input, process, output, outcome, potential impact, who stakeholders. They must have that beforehand. Why? Because some project we found that they finish the project and we evaluate and they say, oh, sorry, I didn't get any data. I don't think you're gonna measure me. So we start from day -1, day -1. But don't have to be precise, don't have to be accurate, just to get the idea how the impact will be created for the stakeholders. Then after the project finish, so in Thailand the timeline is 5 years. After the project complete, we need to report to the government every year. But the full-scale SRI evaluation for us now will be start when there is the empirical evidence saying that this is great project. For example, the project that got the award from external organization. So, for example, the medical school, they may have the award based on the heart disease was cardiovascular, something like that, cardiovascular things, and everyone applaud for that. The impact were written in words, not the number yet. So we know this is good project. Data is there, so we start to do the impact evaluation. So I would say it depends on the reason why you want to do that impact evaluation. And for us now, we have to speed up the evaluation because we thought we want to wait until they have the complete impact. But in the real world, we want to keep on going to do the project because I think the good project never end. You have to be keep on going. So the best case that we're trying to do is to have the open data like that and keep on monitoring. Yes.
Yes, during your presentation, you clearly pointed out that not all projects can be measured by SROI. Of course, only projects with clear social value, economic value, environmental impact can be measured. In fact, two fundamental considerations in the application of SROI would be SIV, social impact value, and IIA, initial investment amount. Okay. Now, can you elaborate more on this idea of social value? In simple terms, how do we understand it?
Very good question. Well, I have my own debate. When I heard this term social values, my interpretation is the values from the social perspective, excluding economic, excluding environmental. But actually, based on Social Value Internationals, the social value refer to economic aspect, social aspect, and environmental aspect. So I would say, hey, actually it is value to the society. It could be societal value. So when I use it, when I implement it, I will see it as the value to the society. Okay. When we talk about values, value is like number. We can refer it as the importance, how importance of this change. So when you talk about that you want to measure the social values, there are two things that we have to think. First is who is the stakeholders who get benefit, who get the trouble from our project. When we talk about that, we need to understand what are the change that the stakeholder will experience. And that change could be from economic perspective, social perspective, and environmental perspective. So every time we talk about the social value, somehow when we interview the stakeholder, like when I interview the patient, I will not ask them what is the social value of this medical school mobile unit to your local hospital. We never use that term. We're gonna ask you what this project changed your life, how your life changed based on this. Say, yeah, I don't have to travel to the city center. It took me 5 days. Yeah, my relative don't have to take the leave from their jobs. They can still make money because you come to us. Yeah, because it's cheaper. Yeah, because it's more reliable. Life change. So the social value to me is the important change to the life of the stakeholders in our project.
Still in line with the same question, what strategies can organizations employ to measure social impact when quantitative data is scarce or unavailable? Is there a way that we can still apply SROI, or what strategies can the organization employ to measure social impact in this case?
Okay, I believe I'm quite positive, optimism that I think we can try. But again, the question is that why you want to do it, right? Who requests that? You want to do it for your own decision making in your organization, or the donors organization or foundation asked you to do it and report to them. If the later case, you need to follow the step that the donor want from you. But I don't know. I think I don't have the final answer to that question because we're still learning. We were at that stage 6 years ago. We don't have much data. We do have a little quantitative data. So what we do is that we start from scratch, but we are quite focused. So we have at that time, I think 3,000 projects ready to be evaluated. And we think that, okay, we cannot measure everything, right? And we cannot measure every project. We can, but we cannot. So we ask our executive vice president. So there are 3 vice presidents in charge of 3 main positioning of university: biopolice, medical police, creative. Ask them to propose top 10 projects to be evaluated. Okay, and yeah, from that top 10 we get 30, and then at the end of the day we can only evaluate around 25 because some projects are quite classified and the donor don't want to be evaluated with university. Some of the project professor retired already. Some of the project the owner passed away last year, something like that. So we get some data, we learn from that. So my suggestion is that starting to implement for one project that you believe you have the most complete data or most data available. Even more important, I always start with a project where I can talk to the project owner. You know what I mean? Some project owners say, don't mess with me. He's fine, she's fine. But some project owner, they are very, very, very nice and very incorporate with us. The the strategies, you asked about strategies. I think we need to move smart, and I'm from economics. So we use Pareto rule of 80-20s. I think everyone know, right? So you're looking at 100 projects that you have. It's going to be top 10. It's going to be maximum top 20 project that give values to your organization. So select 20, maybe too much at the first stage. Even 10. I think maybe top 5, maybe 5 projects. And then start from that. And I believe that those top 5 projects, it will be repeat again. So we save time. So the strategy is that start small, but do it as complete as possible and learn from that.
Okay, so any final questions coming from the audience before we end our discussion? Going, gone. Okay. So I would like to thank you, Dr. Pairach, for your presentation and for sharing all your insights, knowledge, and information with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. ขอบคุณครับ
At this point,